Hey there everybody, and welcome back to the Weekly Bento. I am your host, Crypt Keeper Joshy T, and it is good to be back. The regular watchers of this little program may be wondering, well, what happened to it over the past couple months? There is not really a short answer, so I will give you the abbreviated long one. We had been doing the weekly news segment for about 17 weeks straight. We did pretty good there at keeping it consistent. And basically that pre-Fan Expo crunch happened and everybody got distracted, so we took a much needed break from it. And when we came back, our lovely host Serenity got incredibly busy. And with that, kind of had to make an evaluation on whether or not she wanted to continue doing it. And because she is pursuing an acting career alongside of her full-time work and balancing life, it was amazing she lasted as long as she did. So this is a heartfelt thank you to you, Serenity. You were such a wonderful hostess, and I can't wait to see more from you. And hopefully we will get Serenity back in every now and again, just because she has been such a lovely presence on this channel. And with losing our regular host, it was also kind of time to reevaluate where we were going with this. And I personally came to the decision that doing a news segment wasn't really worthwhile because we were just aggregating the news we found, and it's out there and you guys can find it, and if we see anything cool, we'll probably share it on social media anyway. With that, it seemed like a good time for a little bit of a format change here on the Weekly Bento. So, keeping the idea of the Weekly Bento being a sampling of things, the Weekly Bento is going to be more informal, and it's basically just going to be a sampling of whatever we're thinking at the time. It will include, maybe it will be a new show that's on that we're watching and want to talk about, something that is just going on in the community that needs to be said, or maybe it's just going to be the weekly musings of a rambling guy who doesn't get out of his basement enough. Either way, should make for good viewing. So let's jump right into this first one, which is part review, part point of interest. So getting right to it, the fall anime season has actually been really good. There's been multiple programs that I have been watching weekly and very interested in, which is a good thing to see because anime tends to fall into season-long malaises sometimes, or things just start to feel the same, and basically you just are only keeping up with the weekly shows that have been on for 15 years. Yeah, I'm looking at you, One Piece. I'm committed, but it's annoying. One of the gems standing out this season has been a little show called Alderamin on the... The show, summarized simply, is that it's all about military tactics. It deals with a young man who is a strategical genius, basically being thrown into the throngs of war because of things beyond his control. This young genius named Ikta Solarok is the disciple of a man who coins the term science in his respective world. Until Ikta's teacher came along, this world has been based mostly on religion, a religion revolving around communication and living in harmony with various spirits, and even the technology they do have is powered by these spirits. One of my favorite instances of this is one of the main weapons they use being an air gun, but it is a gun with the full force of a gun as we would know it, but it is actually powered by the little sprites that are the partners with each person, and the little sprite actually plugs right into the gun and is what powers it. And it's things like that, this blending of a modern technology as we would know it with elements of fantasy, and I just love that. As anybody who knows me knows that I'm a big fantasy fan, and the way they found to bridge the gap between magic and technology, as it were, is really, really cool. But where this show shines is in characters, which is the biggest thing to me. All the characters are incredibly dynamic. Even if a lot of them are not super expressive and mild-mannered, I find that to be more real because you do have people who are just polite. Not everybody needs to be over the top. And they balance those in the group who are a bit over the top. It's a really great balance of characters, and the plot moves along at a nice pace, and I love that it is a war show, but is far more focused on tactics, and I want to dive into that as the subject of this discussion. So going from our main character Ikta, who in a bit of foreshadowing in the first episode is dubbed, sometime in the future, which we haven't seen yet, he is dubbed the Invincible Lazy General, because he is all about achieving victory in a lazy fashion. Lazy really meaning not in a wasteful way or a way that gets people killed. And over this 13 episode season, which I believe has finished now because they did the wonderful roll the credits over the opening sequence at the end of the episode thing. My regular anime viewers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that 13 episode season will be over just this week. And we have really seen Ikeda shine as a character. He is incredibly grounded. He is incredibly morally upstanding, but on top of that, he is brilliant. And that brought me to something interesting where Ikeda, although there is potential for underlying motivations, Ikeda is a benevolent military genius, which until this point, I could not think of anything else that was comparable. When you start thinking of super genius characters, there are some in pretty recent animes that you jump to, and I want to go to the first example of this being Light Yagami from Death Note. Now, Light's genius cannot be denied. It's the whole reason that the show progresses in any sort of way. However, anybody who has seen or read Death Note knows that after, say, 10 episodes of the show, if you are rooting for Light to get his way, A, you either have an incredibly dark sense of things, or B, you may just have some issue. Because in Light's case, it becomes all about his ego. When the populace start speaking of a dark god who is punishing criminals, he actually starts to believe he is one, when really he's just a smart kid with a magic book. And his motivations, at first, if at all pure, are quickly undercut by the goings-on of his need to maintain this world that he thinks he deserves to create. Jumping from that is the show that I always say is related to Death Note in a lot of ways, and that is Code Geass Lelouch of the Rebellion. Main character Lelouch is very comparable to Light Yagami in terms of his intellect. And with Lelouch, you got to see his intellect applied in a military fashion. However, as noble as his intentions may have been at first, if you can even call revenge against an empire at all noble, granted the Empire are obviously terrible people, so it's like a bad guy fighting another bad guy. Lelouch in his intentions, although good underlying, Lelouch along the way likes to make use of people as if they are pawns and not people whose lives are worth a damn. This is, again, where I think Ikeda from Alderamin on the Sky really stands out. He cares entirely about people, and he cares entirely about winning a battle safely. He is not interested in the fight to the death mentality that a lot of his superiors around him, especially it being an empire military tradition, expect him and other men to carry out. No, Ikeda says, if we're going to win, we're going to do this in the most efficient way, the most scientific way, so that everybody gets to go home and be lazy and enjoy their lives. Because of that, I am really enjoying the show and really enjoying Ikeda as a main character. He is just absolutely shining as a leader and as a main character, and his relationships with all the supporting cast are very real, and he is appreciative of all the things that they do. Also, just looking forward to a second season, which, oh my god, there better be a second season because this show was amazing. Also, they've done amazing jobs of foreshadowing what lies in the future for him, and if it goes as it has been set up, it's going to be incredibly fascinating to watch. So there you go, a little review on something I've been watching lately, and also a bit of thought candy for you. I want you guys to kind of chime in on this. Can you either think of other completely benevolent super geniuses in other anime that I'm not thinking of? And if not, who is your favorite super genius character? Personally, I'll always have a soft spot for Aizen from Bleach, but as you know, he is complete villain. He is not benevolent in any fashion. He's villain to the core. but also just too damn smart, and that's why he got away with everything for 300 episodes of Bleach. So yes, leave your responses in the comments below, and stay tuned for more Weekly Bento. Hopefully it is going to be an interesting sampling of everything we have here. I'm hoping to have other guests do this on occasion, so that it is not just a sampling of thoughts, but a sampling of people. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. And remember to go to www.otakukrypt.com for everything that we do, which includes podcasts, photo shoots, cosplay videos, and more. So yes, go check that out. And again, I am your host, Joshy T. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time for another serving of Weekly Bento.